So we were going to open today. It's Monday, January 4th, and you can see we are not opened because now we are in the middle of a massive coronavirus surge and none of us feel comfortable having people in. So here we are well over a year after having bought the property. It's been built out for months and we remain vacant. But I think it's the right thing to do. I don't want to rush it. It is what it is. I'm gonna try to be stoic about it. Today is the big day. We are about to walk over and close on 910 and 912 Main Street with pretty much every dollar we have to do a thing that most people are telling us is a terrible idea. So I don't know if it's an omen, but my flight was terribly delayed last night. I slept at Newark Airport. It was not too late to back out. I'm Ryan Holiday. And I was crazy enough to spend my life savings to open an independent bookstore in the middle of a global pandemic.
I'm Sam, I'm Ryan's wife. We were eating breakfast at a diner across the street and we saw a for sale sign up in the window of this super cool old building. And when we first saw it, Ryan was like, yes, the building's really cool and I really like the building, but what would we do with it? And we walked by and I was like, I 100% can envision a bookstore in this space.
It's amazing to make stuff on the internet, to make videos, a podcast that's done 50 million downloads. I write a daily email to hundreds of thousands of people each morning. Even now, most books are digital. The majority of my book sales are audio or ebooks. But there's something special, something different about things that happen in the real world. And bookstores have been that for thousands of years. Even the school of Stoicism, which I write about, was founded when a guy named Zeno washes up in Athens after a shipwreck. He walks into a bookstore and he hears the bookseller reading a book about Socrates. And hearing this, it changed Zeno's life. He discovers philosophy, he founds Stoicism, and he would later joke, he said, I made a prosperous voyage when I suffered a shipwreck.
We came into the space and it just seemed like so much work. We've never done anything like this. We've done small projects or done small renovations or things like that, but this just seemed so beyond anything that we could handle.
There was just obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Plus decision after decision after decision. How many books are you gonna carry? Where are you gonna order them from? What do you want your shelves to look like? What do you want the name to be? How are you gonna buy the domain for the website? There's just a bazillion decisions that you have to make. We just started working on the shelves. It's coming together, which is pretty nuts. We didn't think a global pandemic would make an already hard thing harder, but here we are. I remember in the depths of the pandemic, everything on this street was shut down. Walking through this huge empty space, we'd started the demolition and the renovations, and just thinking about that line from Arrested Development, I think I've made a huge mistake. But then it occurred to me this building survived the Spanish flu and the First World War and the Second World War. It survived so much. And the people who were here, they endured it, they survived, they soldiered on.
We didn't want to just let it sit, so we pushed forward, making one decision at a time, and I'm really glad we did because the price of lumber went way up after we bought it all to put the shelves in. So we ran into some staffing issues. We had consistent roof issues. Everything closed down. We took our kids out of school. We're great. We just invested everything into this building and this concept for a space that requires people coming in and gathering. At that moment, we cut everything in half. It's there's two sides to this building. We eventually ended up renting out the other half to a record store that works really well with us.
And there was something weirdly very comforting about this space as the world was falling apart. It forced us to slow down and really do it right. We couldn't rush it open. Well, the shelves are all done. You can really take inspiration anywhere. I remember we went to a kid's birthday party and we walked into their house and they had amazing bookshelves that looked kind of like this. We said, did you make those? And they said, yeah, we made it ourselves. And that was what inspired the shelves in here. There was a bookstore that I went to in Bucharest that inspired part of how we organized things. There was one that I went to in Budapest that also inspired how we did things. There's a bookstore in downtown Los Angeles, the last bookstore, which I love, that partly inspired this. You can take inspiration anywhere, you put your own spin on it. This fireplace is gonna be covered floor to ceiling in books.
So Ryan likes to say that this was his idea. We'll give it to him. I like to take half credit. There's 2,000 books in here. I think we have a really good mix of just books that we bought to fill the space, some friends' books, some of Ryan's books, like books that we had duplicates of or that we just like weren't actively using anymore but just didn't want to get rid of. It looks precariously stacked. There's a lot of brackets all the way up holding the books in. A lot of them are cut in half because otherwise the weight of it would be too much. There's like 4,000 screws and like 4 gallons of glue or something like that, a lot.
I'll show you the kids area, which is the first thing that's basically done. Boom. It's a nook, hiding in for kids, shelves. This is the tree. This is my favorite. This is the tree house. And then these trees here come from our farm, so that's pretty exciting.
I had a vision for what the kids section was gonna look like, just something that I think I would have really enjoyed as a kid. But I think what really pushed us to build it out the way we did is that we did come here with our kids and like they didn't go anywhere else. They weren't playing with anyone else. We're like, this is something that I want them to enjoy. Like they can go hang out in here and love it. And like, if they do, other kids will too. And eventually like other kids will.
When you're doing anything risky, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got is the thing is risky enough. So how can you take risk off the table once you've taken a big risk? Just because you're making one big crazy decision doesn't mean that you can't be smart after that. Upstairs in this building is an office, and I already needed office space. So I created an efficiency where my office space to do my writing, to run my business, to film videos, that expense is partly covering the expense of this whole shop. We decided we'd only carry a small number of books. The average bookstore, I was totally surprised to learn, carries 10,000 books. Even small independent retailers carry thousands of titles. And I said, let's carry a small number of books. So we only carry about 500 books.
We had the idea instead to bring his reading list email to life. When you walk in the store, if you've been following Ryan's reading list email for any amount of time, you will recognize books on the shelves and you may have read some of them and you probably will have confidence in purchasing other books in the bookstore because you've read and liked books that he's recommended.
These are the first web orders for The Painted Porch, which I'm really excited about. This is one of our all-time popular books. This is one of our most popular books. This book has been really, really popular. This is a great one. So a lot of these. This is one of my favorite kids' books. Sold a lot of. Books are here. We finally have some here. We're just getting them all out. There's some more in the windows. At a certain point, the rubber has to meet the road, and the fantasy of just designing things and making things, like, it is a business, and you have to open, and you have to see if it works. We came to have breakfast in the store today. I think we're gonna try to open tomorrow, so we'll see. All right, we're gonna open the door. Should we just leave it? You wanna get that brick? Well, there we go. One of the first books someone bought was The Daily Stoic, which I'm pretty excited about. I'll take. The second book someone bought was Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art. Somebody bought Atomic Habits. It was a real day. Like, we sold real books. This is a pretty good selection, man. Like, these are good books. Of course, I like The Daily Stoic, but we did it, man. We did it. So that's what the first day was like.
I think we knew that once we opened and made a big deal about it or announced that we were opening, it was gonna be very real. So what we did is we kind of just like didn't tell people. We teased it a little bit and we just opened the doors. It's really awesome for me that like Ryan can drive people here from around the country or from Mexico or Canada, which is like crazy that people come from those places to come visit the store and like fall in love with the small town that we did and like frequent the small businesses that we enjoy.
There's something special about books and something special about bookstores, and you never know if your idea, your hunch is gonna pan out, but then it did. And that's been the most exciting part, that for all the risks, for all the difficulty, like, we weren't wrong. It's like, it's actually working. I'm so glad we did this, and it's been one hell of a crazy experience. But I guess what I'm saying is, if there's something crazy that you're thinking about doing, maybe you should actually think about doing it. On the other side of those risks, of those crazy leaps, can be something that changes your life. It could be something that changes your community. It could be something that changes the world.